Welcome everybody to Texas AEL Manager Monday. Our topic today is Leaders as Teachers. We have Craig Wingerson who will be presenting. I'll share a little bit more about Craig in just a moment. Today is April 12th. My name is Olga Escamilla. You might see a different picture, but my name is Olga Escamilla and I will be your host today. We also have our assisting with me, the technical support, Anne-Marie Molinari Sanders, Katie Snow, and we do have Liz Moya here. So thank you, Liz. Thank you, Anne-Marie and Katie, for joining. And I want to welcome our presenter, Craig Wingerson. And Craig has been a learning professional and storyteller for two of America's most recognized properties, the U.S. Capitol and the Walt Disney World Resort. As a training specialist and architect of the Capitol, Craig supports the training work at the Capitol Visitor Center in Washington, D.C. He is surrounded by amazing stories and really walks in the footsteps of history every day. So prior to that, Craig was a leader with the Walt Disney World Resort near Orlando, Florida, where he facilitated and designed training around Walt Disney's core operational philosophies of guest, service, leadership, empathy, and teamwork. Craig uses storytelling to teach diverse audiences, inspiring and motivating participants to perform at a higher level. He has facilitated service and leadership classes to over 25,000 participants. His projects include Star Wars, Galaxy's Edge, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, and Frozen Ever After. So in 2014, Craig was awarded, he was a recipient of the Partners in Excellence Award with Walt Disney World's Lifetime Achievement Award. So welcome, Craig. Thank you so much for joining us, and take it away.
Great. Thank you very much, everybody. I once did a presentation where 5 minutes in, they said, hey, we can't hear you or see you. So I like to start off with that because it gives me a complex. Throw me a couple of reactions of thumbs up if you can see me. Waiting. Oh, okay, very good. How about some that little party icon? That's a fun one. If you can hear me, okay. All right, very good. So I feel okay. Going ahead and starting. So I do have a couple PowerPoint or a PowerPoint that I would like to share with you. So let me throw that up there right now. I appreciate you all letting me be here to speak to you about a topic that I love and I'm passionate about, leaders as teachers. It combines two of the things that I really love about my career, leadership development, which I think is so important, and teaching. That's the whole idea of adult education, which we all share. So these together form this concept that I call leaders as teachers, which is why I'm here today to talk to you all. Let me give you a little bit of background about me. My career and my training career started at the Walt Disney World Resort way back in 1999. So if you're doing the math, that means that I was about 8 years old when I started with Disney. So you can make that addition and subtraction as you will. 1999, Disney is a funny company. It hardly ever will Walt Disney World promote or hire leadership from an outside company. The culture is always to promote from within. So I started, as they say, at the very bottom of the ladder with Walt Disney World. I was a concierge and front desk at Disney's Polynesian Village Resort. And what I did there is I took credit cards and I checked people in and I sold tickets and I loved every bit of it. It was a great experience. But I did not want to do that for the rest of my life. I had a passion for training. So in 2005, I joined the training team at Walt Disney World, and I've been involved in a lot of different projects over the years in training. I was a training manager at what we call Disney University, which is a literal building called Disney University. It's 2 floors of classrooms that is exclusively for the use of onboarding. So every employee who comes to Walt Disney World goes through day 1 training and technical training at Disney University. So I was a leader there. I was a leader at a couple of the different resorts around Disney property. And then about 6 years ago, I got the great opportunity to join a team that focused exclusively on Walt Disney himself, his personal philosophies on what makes a great business. So we trained those philosophies in every aspect of Walt Disney World. So I was just so blessed to be able to design and then facilitate and teach just service training, just leadership training from the point of view of the legacy and the heritage of Walt. And that was one of the greatest jobs I ever had in my life. And as you can see here in a couple pictures that I have, it led me to be able to take part in a lot of the openings and reopenings of properties across Walt Disney World, when we wanted to reinvigorate employees around what is great service, what does it mean to deliver above and beyond service to guests and to fellow cast members. So there on the right is probably my favorite project that I ever worked on. And that was Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. That's the expansion project from a couple years ago, all based on Star Wars. So that's me in my silly costume, standing in front of the Millennium Falcon, childhood dream come true right there. And on the left is a more recent picture of me. That was my 20th anniversary at Walt Disney World. They treat us well there. They shut down the Magic Kingdom and invited only people who were celebrating milestone anniversaries. So that day I got free food from Disney and free ice cream bars shaped like Mickey Mouse and popcorn and characters. And working with Disney was one of the most amazing experiences of my life. As much as I loved working for Disney, I did not like living in Florida. So my plan had always been to spend 20 years with Disney and relocate somewhere with better weather. Better weather. That's really the reason that I relocated. So about 6 months ago, I relocated to the DC area. And today I work for what's called the Architect of the Capitol. And the Architect of the Capitol is a division of Congress that takes care of the United States Capitol building, the Supreme Court, and the Library of Congress. It's our job to serve Congress by protecting these places and spaces of national historical significance. So in particular, I'm a training specialist, and what I do is I help with onboarding, again, kind of what I did with Disney, onboarding of the tour guides. If you ever go to the United States Capitol and you take a guided tour of the building, those are my folks. Those are my people. The tour guides, the people who work inside of the retail gift shops, the leadership teams. And Architect of the Capitol is everything about the Capitol building and the other two buildings, but specifically I work for, if you can see in that middle picture, the United States Capitol Visitor Center. There's a picture of me at the office on the right, and I didn't realize that was such a close-up view of me. Sorry about that for the selfie. So that's a little bit about me. I've been with the Architect of the Capitol now for a month and a week. So I'm actually kind of new to working for the federal government. And today, when I talk to you about this concept of leaders and teachers, a lot of my stories, most of my stories are actually going to be coming from Disney because that's where my experience lies. I'm still getting used to knowing what it's like to work on Capitol Hill. So here's our plan for today. I don't really teach by PowerPoint, so this is the last PowerPoint you're going to be seeing for a while. And what I believe is that the idea behind leaders as teachers can be thought of in three pillars. And these are the three pillars that I believe in: engage, teach, and empower. And that's the three topics we're going to be talking about today. And this really is our agenda. It's just these three things. So I'm going to be asking for your input on what your thoughts are. And I'm going to be telling some stories about how I've experienced each one of these three things. And then we'll have some time for questions and answers at the end. So engage, teach, and empower is how it's going to be today. Now, I'm going to stop sharing this so that I can get back to the chat window. There. Okay, everybody. All right. So what I want you to do is I want you to use that chat window. So get ready, because your first assignment today is I want you to type in a sentence or a thought that you feel best summarizes and captures the idea of leaders as teachers. So what does that mean? What does it mean for a leader, a manager, a leader to be a teacher in their operation? Leaders as teachers, go. Let's see, I'm already starting to see some things like modeling. Sure, you've got to be a role model because I believe people are learning from you, whether you know it or not, whether you like it or not, actually. I see some leading by examples. Sure, effective communication. We're gonna have a whole class on effective by communication. Being a role model, we'll talk about that in a little while, about how it's not enough just to speak the words, but you've got to live the words, that's for sure. Leaders as teachers continue to learn. Yeah, so it's on us too to be a learner. Communication, I see that for the second or third time now. Reflecting the behavior that I would like to see others exhibit? Sure. Oh, motivation. We'll talk motivation. Active listening. That's certainly a skill. Empowerment. Well, that's one of my pillars. So we'll talk about empowerment. That's the third one. Guide people. Teaching by example. I love that. Demonstrate, inspire excellence and passion in everything that you do. I love that. Disseminating higher level information and vision. A lot of times, a leader as a teacher takes these very high, broad level concepts, and we have to not water them down, but bring them down so that people understand what it means to them in particular. Facilitate learning, foster imagination. Lance, that's a perfect Walt Disney Company answer. That was beautiful. Trusting, I think that's probably trusting other people, but also facilitating an environment where you can be trusted. I see facilitator, I see role model again. I love all of these examples. And I think we're going to touch on a lot of these ideas today that encapsulate the idea of what a leader as teacher is. So let's start with the first pillar. Thank you all for your answers. Let's start with the first pillar. And my first pillar, if you remember from that slide, is engagement. Now, I want you to use that same chat window and I want you to type in what you think engagement means. And we'll talk that. Engagement, what is that? Two-way communication. So it's more than just teaching, it's more facilitating probably, interactive, certainly being a part of something, making a connection. I like that. Inclusion, reaching people, relating to people, connecting to people, getting people excited. That's certainly important. Involvement, interest, investigating, buy into the group's goals. We have to define the group's goals, of course, but then getting them to buy into it, to be present with others. I think a lot of times you know if someone you're talking to or engaging with is present or if they're not. Interaction, making a connection. Everyone's input is value. Commitment, again. Really good answers. I'm surprised. Almost every time I deliver this material, somebody says engagement is the precursor to a wedding. There's going to be a smart aleck every time who thinks that's funny. But that's kind of the truth. If you think about engagement from the perspective of getting married, an engagement is a commitment to building a bond and building a relationship with someone in the future. And I think that's what engagement could be with us as managers, as leaders. It's us right now making that commitment to do all of the things that I see in my chat window right now. Let's commit to connecting to people, to being present with people, to interacting with people, to making sure that they are valued and their input is valued. And that can start right away. My first story today is not about me. It is about my daughter. My daughter is 25 years old. She has grown. She has left the house. She's on her own now. And she is a technical theater major who just happened to graduate as COVID shut down all of the theaters. So she's working in retail. And give me a thumbs up if you've ever worked in retail. Retail Unite. There they come. Yeah, y'all, if you can work in retail, you can work anywhere. She has her first job. She's been there for, 6 months, 9 months, enough time to really be an expert at the job. She knows what she's doing. And they hired a new manager. And the new manager came in, and she works in a clothing shop where they have mannequins at the front of the store. And the new manager comes in, and on her first day, when my daughter got there, on the manager's first day, when my daughter got there, the manager looked at her and said, those mannequins are all dressed wrong. They need to have A, B, C, D, whatever it was, and that needs to be fixed. Dramatic pause. Because my daughter is later that night telling me this story, and she says to me, the first thing I wanted to say to my manager was, who are you? So what a way to start an engagement with somebody. She'd never even been introduced to this person, and already they're in the operational mindset. So that's not engagement. Engagement is building the relationship first so that direction to a direct report can be a natural thing, not just a command thing. So she learned a lesson, and I have learned a great story to start off with leaders as teachers. When I was at Walt Disney World, what I learned very quickly was that the best way to engage, the best way to interact, the best way to form these bonds and connections with people is to spend time with people. And I know that that sounds very elementary. It sounds like that shouldn't need to be in a training class, but a lot of people, my daughter's manager, forgot that that's really the best way to bond with people. You might be an expert in what they do already, but in order to make the connection, you need to spend time with them. At Disney, I had the great opportunity of some free time. When I was not teaching classes, I had free time to work on projects. But what I like to do is I like to spend time with people. And I mean the people who were working hard out in the theme parks, pressing buttons, cleaning up trash cans, scooping up after the horse on Main Street. I liked to learn what they do to give me a better appreciation of how hard they worked. One thing that I did was I volunteered to work at Pecos Bill Cafe. If you're not familiar with the Magic Kingdom, Pecos Bill Cafe is a Wild West themed counter service restaurant in Frontierland. And back in the day, it served tacos and taco salads, but the toppings were all on a common topping bar. And on this topping bar, you would find your tomatoes and your lettuce. And the point of my story is that's where you would find the guacamole. And if you don't know what tourists will do with free unlimited guacamole, all you had to do was spend about 5 minutes at the toppings bar of Pecos Bill Cafe. It was an absolute disaster. And so I'm learning this. And my job for the day was to clean the toppings bar. And I would clean that guacamole and I would turn my back and the guacamole would be a disaster again. We would find guacamole on the floor. We will find guacamole in the bathroom. And I am not kidding with you all. Guacamole was in the bathroom on the stall doors. I don't know how guacamole gets in there, but that is a true story. I'm telling you all that because then when I'm in the classroom and I am teaching, let's say at the Magic Kingdom, and somebody in my classroom works at Pecos Bill Cafe, we already have an engagement set because I already know a little bit about their job. I only spent maybe half a day there, but all we had to do was look at each other and say, guacamole. And my class participant would say, oh, the guacamole. And I would say, I know, guacamole. And that was it. That was our entire engagement. It does not have to be a sit-down conversation, a one-on-one, tell me about your family and your background. It could be something as simple as cleaning up guacamole. And I learned very quickly that engagement can happen as easily as that if we spend time with the people that we work with, the people that work for us, understanding them a little bit better, even from something as simple as guacamole. I learned the same thing about toilets and trash cans. I spent some time cleaning toilets and trash cans with the custodial team at Epcot. And I really always took it for granted that Disney restrooms were so clean and trash cans were so clean. I never really thought about it before. A receptacle for trash actually looked clean. But then when I spent time with them learning how they did their job, I understood how hard it was, hard work and hot work. I had no idea that custodial polished the trash cans. We at Disney would take the trash out of the trash can, put it in another receptacle. When we would put the empty bag in and close the lid, we would then take a rag and we would wipe down the trash can so that it looked amazing. And that was a way to spend time with people and make that connection in the classroom again. Whenever I would have custodial in the classroom, I would talk about polishing trash cans. And my participant would say, oh, yeah, I'd never worked anywhere where we had to polish a trash can. And I said, I know. And you all work hard. And thank you for what you do. I learned quickly that thanking people for the hard work that they do, that was just an important part of building that engagement as well. Oh, I hear somebody say they were cleaning trash cans and bathrooms at the campus. Liz, that's you. Liz, did you ever find guacamole in the bathroom? Oh, here's a true story and probably what Olga does not want me to talk about. We used to find guacamole on the ceiling of the bathrooms. That's a mystery that I have not solved today. I don't understand how people do that, but that's Walt Disney World there for you. Oh, she's found worse things than guacamole. Dr. Olga is probably telling us to, let's stop right there. Let's talk about the type of people that you would engage, the Tragic Kingdom. Let's talk about the type of people that you would build engagements and build relationships with. The way you build a relationship And the things that you feel are important are not necessarily the things that a student in a classroom would think is important, or not necessarily what your direct report thinks is important. You have to think about motivation. What motivates people to do a great job? I know exactly what motivates me to do a great job, but what motivates me is not necessarily what motivates other people. And when you can find that connection to motivation, that's where engagement, true engagement, can really take place. One of my first leadership experiences at Disney was as a front desk manager at one of the hotels. And I had two employees that reported up to me. Their names were Sean and John. And I'm not making that up. It was Sean and John. Sean, it was easy to tell how he was motivated. And he was motivated the same way that I was motivated. So this whole idea of engagement and building a relationship with someone was super easy with me and Sean. Sean was motivated by Disney and magic and Tinkerbell and Pixie Dust and rides and shows and Mickey and Minnie and Pluto. That's what motivated him. He was a great employee to work with our guests. When he was checking in someone at the hotel, his check-ins were, there's no other word for it, they were magical. Now, this is also a true story. There would be a line of people to check in. And when someone would go to the front of the line and say, hi, I can help you right over here, it was not unusual for somebody to say, oh, no, thank you, no offense, but I'm gonna wait for that guy right over there, that guy being Sean. And so we ended up having two lines at the front desk. There was a standard front line, and then there was a Sean front line because he was just so good at it. Now, the standard is for a check-in to take about 5 to 7 minutes. It was not unusual for Sean's check-ins to be 30 minutes long. So did we still have to coach Sean? Because there's this whole idea of efficiency, but we never had a complaint from one of his guests because he was motivated by this whole idea of, I get to help somebody on their first trip to Disney, and I'm gonna plan stuff and I'm gonna explain stuff. And he loved all that kind of thing. One of his claims to fame was he had eaten at every single restaurant on Disney property, every single one of them. So if you ever had a guest come up to you and ask about food, you would send them to Sean because he was just so good at it. That's what motivated him to do a good job. Now, let's talk about John. John was completely different. John worked in what we call the back office. And the back office is where the phones would ring. The back office is where the financials were done. The back office was where reports were run. The back office is where we would book the house. And book the house means that we would assign rooms to every guest. John was really good at it. If ever there was a room change that needed to happen, but the rooms were occupied, you went to John, and in just a couple flicks of his fingers, he was moving people around that hotel and got people into the rooms that they really loved and really wanted. He was so good at that. He was not motivated by magic. Mickey Mouse, nothing. I remember going to John and talking to him about a new ride that had just opened at the Magic Kingdom. And I asked him if he had been on that ride. He said, been to the Magic Kingdom? I haven't been to the Magic Kingdom since they made us go on our first day for a tour. I can't stand that place, the heat and the crowds. And clearly, if I was to motivate John, I could not motivate him in the same way that I motivated John. John was motivated by a job well done. John was motivated by moving things around and solving puzzles. The problem was that's not how I was motivated. So when you think about those two people, and think about how difficult it was for me to form that relationship, form that engagement with John, who does it fall upon? Does it fall upon him to change the way he's motivated? Or does it fall upon me to think about and change the way that I motivate others? I think you all can probably already see that it's on us. It's on us as managers to figure out what motivates our employees. And we need to change our behavior because that's how you're going to get the best performance out of an employee. That's how you're going to get the best performance out of somebody in a classroom. Let's talk about classrooms. People are motivated to attend a class with, oh, I see the word amazing. So sorry, I have to read this. Front desk check-in was amazing. Oh, it must have been me. The cast member sprinkled to a business suite at no charge. My goodness, when they found out they were on honeymoon. Yeah, those magical moments are really great. In a classroom, you have to figure out what motivates people. Some people are motivated to attend adult learning because they have a love of learning or they want to improve job skills. Some people are motivated to attend adult learning because they were told to go and they have to go and their manager said they had to go, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I don't understand that. But it's not a bad thing to be motivated by that if I, as the instructor, as the facilitator, if I can recognize that and just change my approach for that participant. And the hard part is figuring it out in the first place. And a lot of people will tell me, well, Craig, do you think people are motivated to just perform at a higher level with money? Is money a motivator? And we can go to the best classes, the best seminars, we can watch all the TED Talks that talk about motivating people. But we're fooling ourselves if we don't think that money is a motivator for people. That's not necessarily, John was motivated by a paycheck. That's not necessarily a bad thing if we can recognize it and use it as a tool to engage with people. Some people find this whole idea of engagement difficult. They're uncomfortable talking to people. They're uncomfortable getting to know people. So I want to do a little experiment to tell you how engagement does not have to be complicated. I want you in that chat window again. So here's your next assignment. I want you to type in your hometown. Where are you from, in other words? So let's get some cities coming through there. Not necessarily where you live now, but what you would consider your hometown. I got a lot of Texas, a lot of Texas. Oh, Houston, Texas. Sarah Quinn. Sarah, I'm calling on you because you are from Miami, Florida. I was born in North Miami Beach, and Sarah, I was born in North Miami Beach. I lived in Miramar. I lived in Pembroke Pines. I spent pretty much my entire childhood in South Florida. So Sarah, I want you to type in the window. Are you in Florida right now, or were you a transplant from Florida? Or Sarah, you can talk if you want to, I guess. There she is. Oh, transplant. So what do you miss from South Florida? We're all waiting with bated breath. The weather, Sarah, no. Oh, it's so hot and humid. And your family, certainly. I had family who was living in South Florida, but everybody eventually moved to North Carolina. And then I moved back to Florida, and then I was away from them in North Carolina. And now I live in Washington, D.C., so it cuts the distance in about half. So thank you, Sarah. I got a lot more Texas here. Oh, Bobby from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Bobby, I've been to Oklahoma City, and I remember driving on Route 66. So Bobby, I'm calling on you now. You're familiar with Route 66? Just say yes or no. Bobby, yes. So what I remember most about your beautiful area is a blue whale. Do you know what I'm talking about? Just say yes or no. The blue whale, see? Bobby and I know what that blue whale is. It's on Route 66. It's one of those classic tourist attractions. Bobby, I can't remember if it was a miniature golf course or an old swimming hole or something. I can't remember from back in the day. But the blue whale still exists, and I think it's a big photo spot now for tourists who drive along Route 66. So you all, what I have just done with Sarah and Bobby is engagement. It's so easy to start conversations with people with something as simple as where are you from, if you can find that commonality. The relationship's already started to form. If you cannot find anything in common like that, like I'm going to, hey, Anne-Marie. Oh, Anne-Marie, we've already talked. Tucson, Arizona, never been. I don't know anything about Arizona. It seems hot. I don't know if that's true or not. If I ever went to Tucson, Arizona, what would I do? What's like a tourist attraction? I like touristy stuff.
Oh, goodness. The Sonoran Desert Museum.
Oh, I love museums.
The National Saguaro National Park. There's also Old Tucson, which is where a lot of your old Westerns were. And they have wonderful food, but it's from around the world because there's a lot of transplants from
sure.
New York and everywhere. So there's a lot of different foods. So.
All right. And you could have stopped at national parks, Anne-Marie, because I love national parks. I've got this big map with all the 400 and something national park units across America, and there's push pins that you can put in there. And I need to complete my Arizona section, that's for sure. And what we have just done is started to create a relationship and engagement. So if this makes you uncomfortable, just stand in front of somebody, go up to somebody and say, hey, where are you from? What's your hometown? talk about something you know in common, or if you have no idea, ask them what they love, what they miss, what's important about their hometown. And that's how engagement can start. So engagement, that's number one. I love national parks too, Anne Marie, they're my passion. Number two pillar, if you remember from my original slide, is to teach. So now once we've got that engagement going, we've formed a relationship, even though that relationship might only be 5 minutes, 10 minutes old, we have found some commonality where we're getting to know somebody. Now comes time for step number two, pillar number two, which is to teach. I believe that there are two kinds of skills that you can teach other people. And that is a soft skill kind of a training and a technical skill kind of a training. So I'm going to ask you all again in the chat window. Let's go technical skills first. Tell me in your jobs right now, in your roles, what do you teach? What are you in charge of? If it's a technical skill, talk to me about technical skills. Give me some examples of technical skills in your realm of expertise. Go. I see data analysis, running reports. Oh, so I'm so glad I'm not in training, that I am in training, because all this is over my head. Data analysis again, website, logging onto WebEx, that I can do. Procedures formed, more data. LMS I'm familiar with. Learning management systems, creating lesson plans, teaching teachers. There's the whole idea of leaders as teachers, how to use progress test data to drive their instruction, well put. Coordination, data analysis, training. So Ashley, that's like me, we have something in common. Technical skills, I don't want to say are easy, but I think they're easier because you all come from a background of being what we call a SME, right? A subject matter expert already in the technical things that you're in charge of. So they can be a little bit easier. A lot of us in our roles also have to teach soft skills. So now I want you to do the same thing over in that chat window. I want you to give me some examples of some soft skills that you all need to teach in the classroom or to your direct reports, whatever that is. Soft skills. Active listening is a soft skill, and a soft skill that is very difficult to teach. Anybody have to teach so I was going to say communication, classroom management, that's a difficult one. Patience with an exclamation mark. Being on time, staying off your cell phones, detail, accountability, feedback, work ethic. Ashley, that is such a broad idea, work ethic, but incredibly important when you think about teaching work ethics to people. I think soft skills are harder. And I think that a lot of times we don't come into our roles necessarily being experts at things like that. It's something that is born in us and can be developed in us, but it's very, very difficult to teach those things. So I love teaching soft skills as well, Carol, because I think it's so challenging. And I think people have soft skills within them. They just need someone to bring them out. And I think that's what teaching soft skills is all about. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Bobby, that's beautiful. That was wonderful. We should cross stitch that, put it on a pillow somewhere. That was wonderful. Well put. So a good leader, a good manager has got to have both. You've got to be able to teach both the soft skills and both the technical skills. And the reason I feel that teach comes after engage is because I think it's easier to teach these skills after you've already built the relationship with the person in the first place. So if you've spent time with them, if you've asked them where you're from and built a bond, if you've cleaned toilets with them, then it's going to be easier to teach them and give that feedback as well. But sometimes one is more difficult than the other for us. At Disney, when I was first promoted into the training manager position, I was promoted into a position called Rooms Training Manager. And Rooms includes everything you would think of when you think of the check-in process and the front desk and ticket sales and that sort of thing. And that was my very first job at the Polynesian Hotel. That's where it was. And I did that for 4 years before I was promoted. So if there was anybody who knew the technical side of checking people in and selling tickets, it was me, because I did it every day. And it was only 6 months after I joined Disney that I became a trainer. So if you're looking for somebody who knows the operating guide, officially sanctioned way of running that computer system to do these tasks, it was me. So when I was promoted to training manager for Rooms, thinking that I was going to be in charge of the training process for all these skills. I got it. I'm a natural for this. Dramatic pause. I will never forget my first meeting with my new boss. And they asked me what my comfort level was. And I told her exactly what I just told you. I got it. She said to me, I'll never forget this, Craig, don't forget that rooms includes not just front desk and ticketing, but also housekeeping. Oh, I didn't know anything about housekeeping. I barely clean my own house. I can't even imagine teaching people the proper way to clean rooms. All of a sudden, in a moment, in the snap of a finger, I felt completely unprepared for this. So she taught me a good lesson. She said, since you don't have the experience, we have to build the experience. And the first thing I want you to do is, let's retrace back to step number one, is meet the cast members, meet the people who are cleaning the rooms. In fact, let's take you to Disney University and you're gonna take the class. You're gonna take the same class that a day one housekeeper takes so you can figure out and learn how to make a bed the Disney way, how to clean toilets the Disney way, and spend time with people. Once you're done with that class, we're gonna set you up for a week with a housekeeper and you're gonna follow a housekeeper and you're gonna clean rooms for a week. Give me a thumbs up if anyone in here has ever done any kind of work with custodial or housekeeping in their careers, because here they come. That is some hard work. Another hard-working group of people that I think I took for granted. What I learned was it was more than just vacuuming a floor. What I learned was it was priceless when I think about step number one, pillar number one, with engagement and getting to know each other. And I was terrible at it. I was absolutely horrible at it. I don't care how long I would be at Disney, I would never be as good as the ladies who clean Disney hotel rooms. I could never achieve that level. But I learned some things along the way. I learned how to clean a mirror in a bathroom. I was so bad at cleaning rooms that my housekeeper trainer said to me, Craig, listen, I'll take care of everything. How about you just clean the mirrors? Okay, I can clean a mirror. So I've got my cleaning solution, I've got my washcloth, and I take my cleaning solution and I spray it on the mirror, and then I go to wipe it off. She didn't yell, but she was very concerned. Craig, you can't do that. You can't do that. What's wrong? I'm cleaning the mirror. She said, no, you have to spray the chemical on the rag and then clean the mirror. I said, what's the difference? And she said, look around you. You've got things like toothbrushes who are just laying out here and you've just sprayed chemical all over these people's toothbrushes. Oh, I never really thought about it before. And when I think about skills that we as leaders need to teach people, sometimes the best people to teach us those skills are the people who are already working for us, the people who are already in our classroom, because they're the experts at it. And as soon as I recognize that she's always going to be the expert, not me, I might be the expert in training. I might be the expert in taking these ideas and breaking them down to step by step and creating a training manual for it, and even facilitating a class around it. But the job itself will always be in the hands of those people who work for me. It made things a heck of a lot easier. Number one, I learned the task. But number two, I developed the relationship. And when I would see the housekeepers around the hotel, they knew who I was. They made fun of me in a good way because I had just spent a week in a silly little costume with them cleaning mirrors. And I truly believe, I hope, that making fun of me was an endearing thing, because I know on my birthday, I used to get cakes, cupcakes, and flan. And boy, do I miss my flan. Thank you very much, South Florida. And that's building the relationship. The ending to this story is a good ending because I was asked to speak at the housekeeping breakout meeting one day. And housekeeping breakout is before we start cleaning rooms. There's one big meeting of all the housekeepers where they go over information like what time is checkout time, if there's any VIPs staying with us, what time is the Magic Kingdom open, that sort of thing. And they said, Craig, would you please do a miniature session on a cleaning task, because we're having problems and we need some refresher training. Maybe you could come in and just refresh us on how to clean something. And I said, yeah, sure. What would you like me to do? And they said, how about how to properly use chemical on a washcloth cleaning a mirror? Oh, got it. This I know how to do. And that is a true story. And after the session, I thanked my housekeeping trainer. She knew exactly, what this task was and exactly how bad I was at it. And I was able to thank her and help with that relationship. So I think that perfectly captures what step 2 is all about, teaching people for sure. So now step 1. Pillar one, oh, I've got some comments here. Let's see. Teachers are inquisitive because I learn the best. In the classroom, I am so quick to tell people, a lot of times you are the experts at what I'm speaking of. Let me get you into this conversation. Give me some insights. That's the best way to do that. A program director for AEL, clean lots of bathrooms and other jobs. Yep. Because that's what needed to be done at the time. That's a good trait of a great leader as well. And leaders set by example. Never ask anyone to do anything you would not do yourself. That's why I've cleaned so many toilets out there, I guess. So pillar number 1, we have engaged. We have developed a relationship with somebody and have figured out what motivates them. Pillar number 2, we've taught them. We've taught them a technical skill or a soft skill in a classroom, maybe not in a classroom, but we have relied upon other people's knowledge and our own knowledge as a SME, and we have taught a task. Now they're out there on their own. Our direct reports, our classroom participants, they're done. They're out there on their own. Pillar number 3, I think, is empower. So I'm going to throw this back over to you. Type in that chat window what you think empowerment means or what it feels like. Any thoughts around empowerment? Go. Empowerment. What's it mean? You all are probably just typing really long. Confidence. Really long answers that are very thoughtful. So 2 confidence in a row. Ability to drive decisions of the group with their input. Sure. Feels like you can do no wrong, even when you're learning what you're doing, that is for sure. A can-do attitude, having control, making others feel confident in their abilities, right? Allowing people to practice and build skills, trusting others to do what they do, sure. Empowerment's a difficult thing because a lot of people are uncomfortable with being empowered. They don't feel that they're, Desmond, you said growth, because a lot of people are uncomfortable with where they are in the growth period, where they don't feel like they're empowered to do things. And it's up to us as the leaders, as the managers, as the classroom facilitators to ensure that they are empowered to do things, having the trust to allow others to do their job, sure, believing in others without judgment. One of my best stories of empowerment is one time I was working in Tomorrowland. That's the futuristic area of the Magic Kingdom. And my job, it was one of those times where I was just spending time with people, learning what they do. And I was parking strollers. There's a person out there at Disney whose sole job for half a day is to park strollers and make them in a place where they're not a safety hazard to people who are walking on the sidewalks. So I'm parking strollers. It's hot, long, tiring, boring work. So at Disney, we're empowered. We are empowered to make magic. And so I thought, I'm going to make some magic here. I don't work here. I don't work in Tomorrowland. I'm just helping out with parking strollers for today. But I'm going to make it a little bit more magical for people. I'm going to park the stroller. I'm going to pay attention to the name that's on the stroller because all Disney rental strollers have the last name of the guest on it. And then I'm gonna do like a valet for strollers. So the show would let out, people will come looking for their strollers, and I would say, hello, how are you today? What is your last name? And they would say Moya, and I would say Moya, because now I remember where all those strollers are. Let me get that for you. So I would go get the stroller, and then I would say, here's your stroller. And as you can imagine, people were delighted with this until my manager arrived. And my manager said, what are you doing? And I said, I came up with this really cool idea about stroller valet. And I'm telling him all about it. And he says, no. That is slowing down this operation. And we don't have time for this. You need to spend your time organizing and parking these strollers, not doing some kind of a valet service. I need you to stop it. And he left. And like my daughter, my first question was, who are you? I don't work here. I have no idea who this person is who just scolded me for what I thought was a really cool idea. And the point of my story is all of a sudden, in one moment, I did not feel empowered anymore. I did not feel empowered to go above and beyond delivering creative service solutions for my guests because of this conversation I just had. So I spent the rest of the day parking strollers. I didn't really feel I had any value for the rest of the day. And that affected me. I will never forget that story. So what I want you to do right now, lead with a servant's heart. Oh, I love servant leadership. We could do a whole class just on that. Everyone's included, all of their ideas and best skills, except for stroller valet, probably. Provide encouragement, guidance, training to build skills as needed. Brenda, that was really well put. What I want you to do is I want you to put in that chat window, what do you think are the barriers for people to feel empowered? Because a lot of people don't. What do you think's going on? Why don't people want to take initiative and do something creative? Why don't they feel empowered? So go, put in some barriers. Lack of confidence, responsibility, fear. They second guess themselves, lack of confidence, freedom, past negative experiences. Yep, I'd never stroller valeted ever again. Lack of support, leadership doesn't support them. They've had ideas shot down in the past, lack of confidence, unknown territory. That's really good. Okay, I have taught this idea of empowerment to frontline employees for years and years and years. And at Disney, it's a core belief that we are empowered to make magical moments for people. And I will teach this concept. I spent 6 years at Disney teaching this concept to people every single day. And I am not exaggerating when I tell you that every single time the idea of empowerment came up with frontline employees, every single time, at least one person would raise their hand and say, I don't feel empowered to do what you're saying. And I would say, why? Every single time, the frontline employees would say, because I'm afraid I'm going to get in trouble. And a lot of what you've just put here on that chat window supports that idea. People don't really feel empowered. They feel that they don't know how to be empowered. They feel like they don't have the support of leadership, and they feel like they're going to get in trouble. And if I was a frontline employee and I had this creative idea, but I thought I was going to get in trouble, well, I wouldn't do it either. So that's on us. That's on us as managers and leaders out there in the classroom and in the workforce. If we truly want our people to be empowered, we got to tell them that. And then when they do something creative and maybe it doesn't work out so well, we got to own that as well. We got to know that part of the idea of empowerment is that sometimes things don't work. And then we can revert back to step number 2, pillar number 2, which is to teach. And then together we learn from it and we teach them. We say, okay, that really didn't work out the way you expected. Let me give you some ideas from my experience on what I think might work with your creative ideas. That's using all 3 of those pillars together. So empowerment can only work from you and me. We have got to create that culture of empowerment, and we have got to erase that barrier of people being scared to be empowered and to do unique and creative things. So those are my 3 pillars. My 3 pillars start with engagement. I feel that we need to build the relationships. All the things that we talked about today are so much easier if we engage with people, if we build relationships with people. Think about coaching and feedback. Coaching and feedback is so much easier if we have already built a relationship with somebody. You're uncomfortable with that? Start with where are you from? Great way to start to build that engagement and build the relationships. Think about what motivates people. We don't know what motivates people unless we talk to them and we build the relationship in the first place. Once we've got that down, it's time to teach. That's us in a classroom, teaching our participants, teaching our students. It's us as leaders and managers, teaching our direct reports, soft skills, technical skills. And if we're not sure how to do it, rely on the experts. That's okay. And number 3, empower. Once you have built the relationship, once you have taught people, then let it go. Every time someone says, let it go, my Disney stock goes up by $1. So let it go and let them experiment. Let them try it. Empower them to do the right thing. And if it doesn't work out, we just start the process all over again and we teach them again. If the teaching isn't working, we'll start that process all over again and we build the relationship just a little bit better. So I hope that I leave you today with some thoughts around those 3 pillars, engaging, teaching, and empowering. And we've got 5 minutes. So does anybody, thank you, Liz. Does anybody have any questions for me? If you'll give me, what's another fun reaction we have not used yet? Give me a little heart. Is that okay? Do we heart each other? Give me a little heart if you have a question. Oh my goodness. Maricela, is that right? Maricela, what a beautiful name. Maricela, what's your question?
I actually didn't have one. I thought you just wanted us to give you some hearts until you said that you had a question. I was just gonna give you some love because I like what
Give me
you're
some
doing.
love because I need love today. No. That's okay. Do you have a question or could?
No, but you're like
Okay.
making me desperately want to go back to Disney.
Oh, me too. I miss it a little bit. I miss some of the rides. I miss the people. I miss the people a lot, but I miss some of the rides too. The Star Wars ride as well. Anybody have a question? Give me a heart if you have a
I
question.
think Sandy had a question because
Sandy,
she
I
had a
missed it.
heart.
I'm sorry. Sandy, did you have a question or did you just heart me? Oh, Sandy chatted. She said she just hearted me. That's okay. All right. If nobody has any questions, that's okay with me. Let me, before you all leave, let me share my screen with you again. Share. And give you this quote right here. Dr. Maya Angelou, she's one of my favorite people in the entire world. I had the great privilege of hearing Dr. Angelou speak at my college convocation. This was back in 19, where she was kind of known, but not known like she was today. And she was speaking at my convocation and we were required to go. And I thought, oh my gosh, please, I don't want to go to this thing. And I am so thrilled that I went to hear Dr. Angelou speak. How many people can say that they've heard her speak live and in person? She spoke, she recited poetry, she sang even for us. She's just one of the most amazing people I think America has ever seen. And you know this quote. Everybody knows this quote, but I thought I would throw it up here just as a leadership lesson to kind of encapsulate those 3 leadership pillars. People will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And that's my leadership philosophy. I think about all of the leaders that I've had over the years. I cannot, if you lined up every manager that I've had along the wall, I could not tell you the conversations that we've had. There's too many of them. It's been too long ago. I can't really tell you the things that they necessarily did on a daily basis. It's too long ago. But I can tell you exactly how they made you feel, made me feel. I can go one by one and I can say, yep, I know exactly how they make you feel. And I know you all agree with that as well. So that's what I want your legacy to be. I want you to think about your direct reports. I want you to think about your classroom participants and them having this assignment and them picturing all of the leaders they've had along the wall. And you're one of those people. When they get to you, how do you want them to feel when they get to you? So thank you, Dr. Angelou, for that great lesson. And if I can do anything for you, here is way too many ways to contact me. I have my own website because it's 2021. Email me if you would like to, craig@craigwiggerson.com. That's easy to remember. And I'll make a plea for social media following as well. So I'm on the Facebook, I'm on the LinkedIn, I'm on the Twitter, and I'm on the Instagram. So please throw me a like here or there. I would love that. And thank you very much for letting me be part of your day today. I've had a good time. I love speaking on topics like this. And I'm going to stop sharing. So, that took the thing away. Dr. Olga, it's up to you. Do I need to bring my slide back?
Actually, Craig, you do have a question from Janine. And she asked, have you seen the Doodad videos where he visits the Star Wars area at Disney?
The Dude Dad? I have not, but I want to steal that name. That's a really cool name. No, that's I assume that's on YouTube. So I'm writing that down. Dude Dad, and I'm jealous of the name, that's for sure. I'll check that out. Thank you.
And Katie says Doodad is amazing. So I guess it's a hidden secret.
All right, very good. Got it.
But we do have lots of really great kudos coming in the chat. I'm looking to see if there are any questions. We do have time. If anyone has questions, you can go ahead and post those in the chat. Thank you for joining us today. And I'd like to thank the TCAL team. Thank you, Dr. Olga Escamilla. Thank you, Anne-Marie and Katie for joining us today. Craig, this was wonderful. I appreciate it. Please, you know how to connect with Craig. He sent you all his ways. And so thank you so much. And we thank everyone for joining us today. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and a wonderful rest of your week. Thank you, Craig. Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Take care.